heat round the outside of the ring.
Blowtorch.
Very gently.
Hello everyone, Xephy here. So, you wanna learn Maverick? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to my Maverick Operator Guide. Maverick is a 1-armor 3-speed DLC attacker who has been added in Operation Grim Sky, along with and Maverick has been one of the more controversial additions to Team Rainbow, even comparable to release LA and Lion. Thankfully, he is much more balanced right now, so I don't feel nearly as disgusting in making this operator guide. But why would I ever feel disgusted? Let's take a closer look. Maverick's gadget, the Hot Boy,
Yeah, boy.
can make all kinds of holes in reinforced walls and hatches, all the while making quite noticeable noise, so the defenders will be alert of your presence, but not nearly as loud as Thermite or Hibana's gadgets. This is one of the most versatile gadgets in attacker's arsenal, and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff with it, from small peek holes, to crouch holes, to destroying reinforcements completely. But let's stack this one at a time, shall we? This blowtorch can melt straight through any reinforcement, and slightly tapping the left mouse button in front of one shall make a small hole, small enough to peek through, being comparable to a punch hole but doubled in diameter. If you hold the left mouse button instead, you shall make a line through which you can look and shoot through. If you cut out any shape with those lines, you can make a hole in the same shape, so the reinforcement won't just float in the air. That way you can make a hole that your teammates can crouch through, if the push comes to shove and your Thermite and Hibana didn't make one already. But the best part of the Hot Boy is completely destroying a reinforcement. Since reinforcements are actual entities on the map, if you cut the bottom of them, they won't have anywhere to hold on to. Meaning that all you have left is make another horizontal line, and a huge chunk of the reinforced wall will be completely destroyed, turning the wall soft and completely at mercy of your soft breachers. Although this technique is much more complex and requires a bit of practice, I recommend going into T-Hunt to practice it. But wait, there's more! You can also completely destroy a reinforced hatch with just 2.5 canisters, if you use them in a very specific way. All of that is a roundabout way of saying that the Hot Boy is basically a paint eraser in Rainbow Six.
I need a vacation.
Maverick's loadout consists of two primary weapons, the AR-1550 DMR and the M4 assault rifle. I feel extremely conflicted about the DMR since it feels so satisfying to shoot, but it sucks so bad. There should be very little reason for you to use this gun on Maverick ever. Unless you really like the sound this gun makes or you're planning to hold long angles. Then, well, then be my guest. But the M4, however, is a much more versatile gun, with a pretty good rate of fire and damage per shot. However, the recoil is pretty hefty as well. I personally use the thing with an ACOG, a vertical foregrip and a flash hider, to slightly reduce that initial kick. Although I have seen people run it with a close range optics and an angle grip instead. It is an incredible assault rifle, which can make Maverick extremely lethal when enemies do not expect him, which should really be all the time due to the nature of his gadget. However, because of how thick Maverick's model is, you might have some trouble entry fragging as Maverick with this gun. Which I think was the point, since he is a hard breacher after all. You can still bring down the pain with this gun, just not in a traditional 3-speed sense. Along with those two guns, Maverick also has access to the M1911 pistol. It has a very small max size of 8, but pretty good damage to compensate. It's alright, not like you have any other options. His secondary gadgets consist of stun grenades and the claymore. I personally use stuns much more often, but the claymore can be extremely useful for flank watch, especially if you don't have a nomad or a gridlock on your team. Both of those gadgets can be extremely useful, but they are pretty situational and are very dependent on your playstyle. Although, in general, I would recommend claymore to counter runouts and late flanks, which is especially important for you as a hard breacher. Regarding flashbangs, however, they can be used to entry frag relatively well, thanks to your 3-speed and great guns. But you should be very careful with that because of how thick you are. Oh,
Come on, boy.
well, that wasn't so hard, was it?
Come on, boy.
Of course, Maverick's strengths are pretty good on paper, but if not utilized correctly, you might as well have gone AFK. Maverick is one of the most difficult to master operators in the game. I would argue on the same level as Echo, Mozzie and Buck. However, that means that once he is mastered, he is one hell of a force to be reckoned with. Opening up sight? Piece of cake. Pressuring from all directions at once? You betcha. Being a great fragger all the while providing insane utility? Guess what? He does all of those things and more. So practice is very important. Channel your inner Afghan veteran because you will have to make do with any little thing at your disposal to turn the tables in your favor. You have a Blackbeard? Make some lines through which he'll be able to pick without the enemies being able to retaliate properly. Bandit chucking a Thermite? Make some leg level holes and destroy those pesky batteries and Bandit himself while you're at it. Some petty bastard is hiding in the corner behind a reinforcement? Turn that shit into Swiss cheese! Maverick's Hot Boy is the strongest attacker gadget there is, turning the maps into his personal little playgrounds, and nothing can counter him. Shit.
Guess you aren't that good after all.
Shut up! Alright, Maverick isn't the almighty powerful god that I am making him out to be, that's true. But, because of how versatile his gadget is, there are limitless ways to use it, even other than the methods that I have already mentioned. So try to get creative. Although, please note that it's not nearly as quiet as it was on release, and you should keep that in mind. Also, other than destroying reinforcements, it one-shots Maestro's Evil Eyes, deployable shields, soft hatches, and can also cut through Castle's armor panels. Although I would not recommend doing the latter since you can get shot through the holes under the barricade. Speaking of getting shot, you will very often be contested by defenders when trying to open up reinforcements. So try to be in cover when using your gadget. I also highly recommend you use the right click often when using the Hot Boy, since it can be very difficult to get used to using it properly. And the right click really helps you out in this department. Another quirk that Maverick's gadget has is its reload. When you are reloading your canisters, it completely discards all leftover ammo that you had in your current one. So do not reload prematurely. This will cause a loss of potential breaching. I should also put a huge emphasis on the fact that Maverick should never ever be your only hard breacher. If your team doesn't have a hard breacher, you should pick Thermite or Hibana, depending on the map and objective, instead of a Maverick, because of how limiting and, dare I say, dangerous his gadget is. For example, on Clubhouse or Oregon, if you are certain that the enemies went basement, Hibana would be a much better pick, since she can destroy all key reinforced hatches that do lead to the objective. While his hard breaching cannot be countered by Bandit, Mute or Kaid, unlike the other two hard breachers, he isn't nearly as effective as them. And you can also get easily shot through the holes you're making and even get killed with a C4 if the enemy is the second reincarnation of the Yeet God, making Maverick the least safe hard breacher by far. But that's just how it is with Mav. He likes living his life on the edge. When playing as Maverick, communication with your teammates is very important, since your teammates may not know which reinforcements have pick holes in them, and you really don't want your teammates to get shot through your own holes. That leaves a very sour taste in your mouth.
Finally, some good fucking food.
In terms of actual playstyle you should have with Maverick, think of him as a hard-breaching version of Buck or Sledge, except not nearly as efficient. Their jobs consist of pressuring the enemy by destroying their soft cover. Mav's job consists of pressuring the enemy by destroying their hard cover. So, use the same mindset as you would on those two operators. Don't pick the holes you made immediately, tell your teammates in advance what direction you will pressure the defenders from, be very careful of your flanks, etc. But if you are good at Sledge, there's very little doubt you will be good on Maverick.
Be gone!
Maverick, by definition, is a secondary hard breacher, a sort of a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none type of character. He has a hard breaching gadget, but he can only open either one of the following: one full wall, 5 crouch holes, a bunch of peek holes, or 2 hatches, none of which are as good as Hibana's and Thermite's results in their respective areas, as Hibana can open 3 hatches and Thermite can fully open 2 walls. His secondary gadgets don't really make him stand out either. No breaches for vertical gameplay, no smokes for helping plants, and no frags for, well, fragging. He's a 3-speed with a good gun, but has a Okay, I'll stop now. A pretty thick hitbox, so he doesn't really work as an entry fragger. What does he do then? Maverick is a supportive operator by design, as most of his utility comes in use when working in tandem with teammates, even more so than most other utility operators. So communication is very important. And while Maverick is amazing in the right hands, in the wrong hands you might as well have given the enemy a second mirror. With that being said, Maverick works very well with operators who do approximately what he does, but better. Hibana and Thermite, Buck and Sledge, Blackbeard and Epitao, and so many more. Almost everyone becomes much more effective when teamed up with a Maverick. Keep that in mind when picking him. Thank you very much for watching this beginner's guide. I hope you have learned something from it. Also, I'm very close to reaching 1000 subscribers, so if you could help me out with that by subscribing and sharing this video with your friends, I would be very grateful. I'm also gathering questions for a special Q&A video for the 1K subs, so if you have any questions you want answered, just write them in the comment section below or tweet them at me at TXephy. I'll try to answer all of them. If you are interested in more videos of a similar nature, click on the eye icon in the top right corner for some of my other operator guides. And don't forget, communication is key. Good luck, have a nice day.